Well, it's not easy to speak after such a strong, even hard sometimes, and also funny at many times, film. Anyway, after such emotional and moving screening. It is a very special evening we are sharing with you. It's a very special evening because the artist is present. It could have been a joke, a bad joke, but it could have been a joke with the movie's title, but actually it's true. The artist is present. Marina Abramovic is present.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marina, for being with us. I cannot say what I'm feeling now, being with you here. It's like a dream. It's absolutely unexpected, but you are here, you are present. Thank you.
I've been many times in Geneva, and I always have the really warm welcome. And thank you so much for sitting on not terribly comfortable chairs for so long. So, Monsieur Bellini, are you coming?
You know, yeah, it's really a very special evening. You know, we organized about 40 talking heads meetings, talks, maybe more than 40, every time with key figures coming from the fields of contemporary art, contemporary design, architecture, and so on. And all these meetings, we welcome them in our school. But when Andrea Bellini, the director of the Contemporary Art Center in Geneva, who is the master of ceremony of this evening, and he organized all of that, I have to say, it's his work. But when Andrea confirmed me that it would become true, it would be possible to organize this talking heads this evening with Marina, it was immediately absolutely obvious that it would be impossible to organize it in our own school conference room for the first time. So that's why we decided to move, to come here. I have to thank our sister school, EPIA, School of Engineers and Architecture, Landscape, and also to, of course, to thank its director, Yves Loenzinger, and its whole staff. Actually, you are the audience. This evening is more than 500 persons within this room, inside this room, and unfortunately more than 100 waiting outside the room. So next time, if you can come back for another talk, we will try to get to the Geneva Stadium or something like that. To finish, I want to thank again my friend. I'm very happy to have such a friend, and the school is very happy to have this very special partnership with Contemporary Center, a Center of Contemporary Art, since Andrea came to take the position of director of this center. It's a special partnership, and this evening, that's absolutely clear, wouldn't have been possible to organize without you, Andrea. So it's absolutely normal that you introduce now Marina Abramovic's work, and you will be the partner, you will be in talk with Marina. And just last point, you know, what we organize, these talking heads, are not in the form of a lecture. It's a talk, really, a talk between Marina and Andrea, but it's also a talk with the audience. So please be part of this talk, and nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre. Thanks a lot to the head for helping us organizing this. Maybe I think there is a room here. I think we can ask the people that are outside maybe to come and to sit down. I think we should. Sorry. There is some place here. I think we can. Me and Marina, we will go. After
the two
the
chairs
table,
the
and
back.
you can come.
Please.
Come down. I mean, having
Let's
people
have
outside,
it.
it's super bad,
Because
especially after
outside
a movie
so
like
many
this.
people, yeah.
So maybe you can, really sit down, and we go. You chose this place. This is your best side, the left one. You see, it's pretty informal. It's going to be a squat very soon. No, it's okay. I mean, as soon as you choose place. No. There is still some room. Nobody's allowed to touch Marina. You might touch me if you want, but not Marina.
Who make these rules?
I'm making rules. Okay, this is endless. It's worse than the titles of the movie that they never end. There is still you can, yeah. Come.
Let's make something different. Anybody who wants to sit here can sit here too. Come on. Please come in. Don't be shy. I know you're so incredibly organized and disciplined. Okay, can you just sit here on this? So we talk. On this side too. Sure. This is
nice.
Great image. Nobody ever made this image.
It's like a high school situation.
Come on. Why you have to have so much empty space between me? I'm not biting. All right. Now we can talk. This looks good. Took this back. Come sit next to me. Yeah, but of course you can hear me until the microphone.
So, good evening. Thanks for coming. It's a great pleasure for us to have Marina Abramovic here in Geneva. Actually, she came here with July and I guess with the black Citroen, with the van, in 1979, Musée d'Art et d'Histoire. They did Balance Proof. This piece, it's not in the movie, I guess. It's this. They were like holding a mirror. They were trying to communicate each other with a sort of telepathy, and then they were supposed to leave the place at the same time. But July left and you stayed, right? Just the other way. No, you left. Well, it's the first time that you left before him.
Okay, let's explain the more concrete. Anyway, it's called Balance Proof. It's double-side mirror, and we are holding with our own weight, naked, against this mirror. And the idea was that we, in the same time, live in the same moment, and mirror fall on his side, on my side, and break. So there was really the idea of kind of inner communication without giving any sign, just pure telepathy. And I was so sure that he left, and he didn't. 1, 2, 3 seconds, I left before him. And the mirror fall on my side and didn't break. It was a miracle.
Okay, this is the real story of Balance Proof. And then Marina came back with July in 1987. They did a show at the Centre d'Art Contemporain in 1987 before doing this legendary walk of the Great Wall, and we will talk about this later. But you know, after a movie like this, it was my idea to show you the movie before, you know, the conversation, because I think it's a very good movie. But you know, the energy now, it's kind of, you know, like it reached like a very high level. So you are, I mean, many of you are artists. You shouldn't think that, you know, the path of Marina was so simple or was so natural. So I think, you know, I think we are kind of obliged to start talking about mistakes, Marina. I mean, you are a human being as any other one. So the first question is talking about, not about personal mistakes and not about falling in love about the wrong guy that, you know, I'm talking about, you know, mistakes in the work. If there are some works that, you know, you feel in a certain sense were at the same level of the others, and, you know, these kind of mistakes.
Okay, I have to stand up because I can't talk in seat, it's difficult. All right. So, I think in the life of an artist, it's incredibly important to embrace mistakes and failures. Because, you know, if we very early sometimes artists find his own style, and then he's reproducing this style over and over again because the public accept it and recognize him by this style. So it's extremely difficult to change. And then you start repeating yourself. And when you repeat yourself, somehow you lose the track, the opportunity to go to the unknown territories you've never been. But when you actually get ideas who you're afraid of, you don't even know what that means, and of course you can make mistakes because you've never been there, so how you can know the output of this? But that mistakes are really huge amount of learning, and I made in my life so many of them, and I think this was the most important. But also it's so important to really, to me, to go to the places where you really have to take serious risk. To me, in the last century, one of the most incredible risk in the human being can make, it was Columbus finding the America. Because Columbus was sent by the king of Spain in order to find the short way to go to India, to bring the spices and gold, whatever, you know, to Spain. And nobody want to go, you know, with him to this trip. So you have to get convicts who are, you know, the murderers and the ones who are, you know, condemned to life, prison, or, you know, to even execution. They're only like outcast to come with him. Why? Because in those days, the belief was that the earth is a plate and you can fall off the earth. And just this idea that you can fall off the earth is incredible. So that's real fear. I mean, going to the moon looks like not so complicated as a falling from the earth into unknown. So he get all these convicts, and they go to the Canarian island, the last one, called El Hierro. And at this little island, they have this last dinner before going to this, you know, to this unknown place in the world. And they took this risk, and they found a new way to America. So if you don't take this kind of risk, you know, not in drastic in his way, but it's something that is in your own domain, you can never go anywhere. So the mistakes are extremely important.
And American history started with a mistake. So in a sense, it was discovered by mistake.
And you see what happened to them.
Marina, nobody knows more. Maybe many persons knows, but it's not in the film. Marina has had, like, after she split with July, she went through a very difficult period, like a very dramatic period. And in 1992, she went to Brazil. She was trying to find these minerals to build these transition objects, and she kind of had like a creative block. Right? Is this true? Like you were kind of stuck. So this might be interesting for artists to know what happened and what did you do?
Very interesting questions. First, you want to talk mistakes. Now with the creative block, where are we going to? Okay, I'm interested in the third question. Creative block. That's a good theme. Anyway, you know, it's very easy if you are responsible for your own work. But with Ulay, we produce, you know, the two of us produced work together, so it was a common work. So it was very important when two artists make the work that you give up your ego. So it's not about him or it's not about me, but it was something we call that self, this third energy. And we create for 12 years this work. And then this, as you saw in the movie, this drama happened and we say goodbye on Chinese wall to our relationship. This was a really drama for me because it's not that I was just losing the man I love, but I also lose my work because there was not any more work to go back to. So I had to reinvent myself and I have to find where, you know, I stand for and how I can do these things. So in that period, I stopped doing performances. And I think about public, because it's the first time that the public was not involved in the performance like Great Wall of China. It was not there, it was physically was not possible. So I was interested in how I can create transitory objects, or the pieces were not really sculpture, but some kind of devices that the public can actually go through the experience what I went through without walking. So this was that period, and then once slowly I went back to performance. But it's not easy for an artist. You have to trust yourself. By now, after 40 years of my career, I know that work have to come naturally. You can't force it. You have to come like almost like some kind of in a dream, like a hologramic image in front of you, and you exactly know when the work really hits your stomach and you know, my God, oh, I have to do this, and you feel all the fear of unknown and you do it. Or, you know, when you choose the work you like and you say, okay, this is so nice. When you say to yourself, it's so nice, just forget it, never do it, because it's a waste of time, because it's so easy to do things you like. Because then you're nowhere, you never change. So you have to put this task in front of you. And then something else happened.
Okay, we stop. We created blogs.
You know, these people just saw the film. I think we should talk about film.
Let's talk about the film. Okay, who wrote actually the film? Did you contribute to writing the film? What happened exactly?
Nobody wrote the film. Film just happened. You know, it's when I was preparing this performance in MoMA, I met this young the film director, and it was his first, well, actually the long-metrage movie. And we didn't have money to start the film. We didn't have anything. And he said, my God, this sounds so interesting. What if I follow you for 1 year and we see what kind of material we can get and see, you know, for the people to, if performance is an interesting thing or not. And he was completely disbeliever in performance. He think performance was bullshit, this is kind of entertainment, and so on. And I love this attitude because I really want him not to believe. I want him to see the process, and I want to see in the end of this process he become believer or not. Now he's very enthusiastic, but you know, it was hardcore. Because first of all, I agree to have the microphone on me 24 hours a day for 1 entire year, which is really hard. He had the key of my apartment. He can come anytime, 6 in the morning, with a full crew, wait until I wake up with the camera on my face. There was a moment I want to kill him with my own hands, because it was so difficult. Till the point that I even forget I have this microphone, I have the camera. I just was forgetting because it's a part of everyday life. But why I decide to do this? Why I decide to open my privacy into such an incredible extreme degree? Because I want not to lose the chance to contribute to the art world, that the performance, who was nobody territory till actually recently, become a really respectable form of art. Before, performance was like nothing. Performance nobody even accept. Performance was taken by everybody, advertising companies, the fashion, the MTV, you know, other artists, you know, taking the works from the 70s and not even telling where they come material and so on. You know, film photography was not like this. That in the beginning was nobody territory, but very soon become art form, but not performance. So when I got this possibility to perform and to have a retrospective in MoMA, I also could say, okay, this is wonderful. I can have great dinner with friends, go home. I didn't need to do this extra, you know, 716 hours. But I knew this was the chance that I can show really to everybody that the performance can have transformative effect on the audience if it really have substance. And film was one way to show to the large audience what performance is, if the people never even heard about this form of art. So this was the reason I needed to do this film.
Yeah, actually, Marina's brother, Velimir, once said that actually she's like a movie actress, and for somehow she did the wrong career.
That's his completely wrong opinion. The big difference between performing in performance, this kind of sense, and the theater of the film is that you're acting, you're taking role of somebody else, and it's not real. Here is everything real. Emotions are real. It's very, and they are, yours. So it's a big difference.
Marina has been always to challenge herself, actually. And, after the artist is present at the moment, it's 3 months, unbelievable 3 months of sitting on the chair. Now she's preparing another project for the Serpentine in London this summer. So we might, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about this other piece that is going to be another important piece and a very challenging piece. It's something nobody knows about this project, but, Marina has been working on it.
And I definitely want to talk because this is my future audience for Serpentine.
Exactly.
You have to come to London, please. So, when you do something like Artist is Present, it's incredibly demanding physically and mentally in every way. It takes a long time to recover because the simple way is just the body is exhausted, and by sitting motionless on this chair, it's not natural position for human body. So my muscles was incredibly in pain. My back was killing me. My legs was swollen. I could not even take my arms to take the dress in the evening out. It was very, very hard. But on the end, I succeed to finish this piece. So it's very hard how to make something even more minimal, how you can make something even more radical than Artist is Present. I understood in the beginning that I needed chairs, 2 chairs and table, and then after 2 months I realized I actually don't need this table. So there was 2 chairs. And now, this is 4 years in between, took me to recover this. Now I'm doing new piece, and I don't need even these 2 chairs. Wow, so that really comes to the nothing. So what is the piece about? It's it's so complicated to explain, but it's, in 1989, there was a big conference in Amsterdam, and it was very important and one of the pioneering conferences between artists, scientists, the spiritual leaders and economists, including Rauschenberg talking to Dalai Lama, talking to Prigogine, the Physics Nobel Prize winner, and so on, about really future of art, future of the finance, the future of the planet, these kind of things. And occasion of this conference, I've been asked, but how is going to look for you, as personally, what I think, how is going to look the art of 21st century? And I said then that I believe that art of 21st century will be art without object between the artist and the public. It will be some kind of transmission of pure energy. But this is me talking as a performance artist. There are artists who are making different things. They're making paintings, they're making drawings, they're making the architecture or the great movies. What is very important in the life of any human being to understand what is his purpose when he comes to this planet. What is our purpose? And you have to find which is your tool to actually realize this purpose. Some people have to be lawyers, and this is their tool, how they can function. Some people have to be farmers. And if you choose to be an artist, you have to find which tool is the best to express your work. So for me, it was performance. Very personal, because I believe that I can transmit that kind of energy to the audience, and that was my tool. And I stay kind of confident to this tool till now. So when I say that will be this transmission of energy, I was thinking from the performance aspect point of view. And now it's 25 years later, and now this June, 11th of June is opening. I will be in Serpentine performing 3 months, 8 hours a day. What I actually said 25 years ago. So how is it going to look like? The museum almost had a heart attack when I told them. He said, okay, are we having endurance of the work? Are we sending the work? What is going to be on the walls? What is going to be in the catalog? I say, you know what? It's going to be completely empty. There's nothing. There's nothing on the wall, just empty walls. That's it. And they say, okay, and then what? And I say, all right, the museum opened 10 in the morning. 10 in the morning, I come and I open the door. I am the one who gets public in, because if there's no artist, there will not be museum. So I can nicely open the door. So I open the door, and 6 o'clock the museum closed. I close the door, and they say, okay, and then, and I say, fine. public come in, and I am there, and they are there, and they are my life material, and I am their life material. And the idea of this piece is very simple. Starts with nothing, and from the nothing, something may or may not happen. That's all. So, what that means? That means that is the most radical that I ever could, done anything. But also is possibility that I completely fail, because I don't know how it's going to be. Because it means that every year, every day of 8 hours, I have to be in the present. I can't be in the past. I can't be in the future. I have to be in that moment. I have to feel audience. I have to feel the needs. I have to feel how they reflect on me, what ideas they're sending me in my head, how I'm responding. So it's always different, every day, 3 months. And let's see if I succeed. If I not succeed, then it will be failure, experiment, I learn a lot. But if I succeed, I could really question entire system of art today was so about materiality. The moment when Francis Bacon was sold for $145 million, that is the moment that you don't see painting anymore. What you see is the money. It's incredibly difficult to see painting when you know that that painting costs this amount of money. So somehow the direct connection to artwork is removed by this curtain of money. The moment Damien Hirst made the diamond head, there's the skull covered with diamonds, and it was a very important piece because it was a very ironic piece and really reflect the society. So what are we buying? Are we buying art or are we buying diamonds? What is happening there? So this is really important that you understand that art is something immaterial. The art comes from, that it can be made from nothing. And this idea can really move you in a very deep emotional level without costing anything.
Fantastic.
It's that particular piece is really to do with how you deal with time and how you deal with the moment to be present. It takes me a long time that I actually train to get to that point that I can be sender and receiver of energy in the same time. So if I'm sitting there with my body, but in my mind I'm in Hong Kong or whatever the public will feel and they will not be the same. But if I'm sitting there with absolutely here and now, with no any thinking in the front of me, just absolutely in this kind of, how you can say, present state, I can receive the energy of the public and I can actually process this energy, give them back. And I become like the mirror image because, these days we don't have time for ourselves and we even don't want to have the time for ourselves because we are afraid to even look what is inside. So we are, junkie consumers of the television consumers, the email consumers, the bloggers, the computer. So we just got to getting in and in, but nobody just sits quietly and do nothing for a while to see what's happening inside of you. And this place was really important because public have to wait. The waiting was part of the process. Then have to come and sit in the front in the chair. But they're in the front of the chair. They're observed by me. They're observed by the other public observing them. They're filmed. They're photographed. There was nowhere to go except in themselves. And the moment when they get into themselves, that all this emotion comes out because then something really tremendously different happened. It's some kind of opening in consciousness. And I have to say that after this performance, I got the big interest of the American scientist and the Russian scientist in me because I was the best guinea pig possible. Nobody wanted to sit so long for any experiment, but I could. So I was there sitting in this with AG caps who actually can measure 86 brain waves, and in the front of total stranger who also have these 80 AG caps with a brain wave, and visualize was on the screen. And it was amazing that actually, if you sit in the front of total stranger, which you never talk one word in the front of him, just eye gaze, the brain waves are working 3 times more, 10 times more, incredible. There is some kind of energy exchange that is possible to be visually seen, but also now the scientists experimenting and finding what is happening on the subconscious level. We are creating this incredible connection, and energy is releasing, and that's really not art you know, hocus pocus. It's kind of science. So it's working. And, you know, old people saying that eye is the soul of the, you know, the door of the soul. And it's pretty much true.
Talking about this relationship with the public, the last biggest project of Marina is the My Institute that, you know, we are presenting here in Geneva with Counting the Rise. Counting the Rise is an exercise that is part of this biggest project that is called the Marina Abramovic Institute, or the Many Artist Institute. And it's this place, it's a Hudson, like upstate New York. It's not a museum devoted to Marina artworks. You go there, you don't see Marina performances or photos or the transitional object or whatever you want. You go there to exercise, to make an experiment, to stay there 6 hours actually. So you are supposed to sign a contract that you go and you stay actually really for 6 hours. And then you go through a process. And this process, it's really everything about the work that Marina has been doing, because all these crazy things she has been doing for a while, like even, you know, you might also say that this problem with Ulai came out also because, you know, there was like another approach to the idea of resistance to the piece. Because, you know, Ulai in the movie says that the physiognomy of a woman of a man are different. So for a woman, it's easier to stay 8 hours on a seat and to stare somebody. And for a man, it's different. So he was losing weight and he had pain. At the same time, I read, you know, somewhere Marina wrote that it's about deciding that you can do it. It's about yourself and the work. And if you decided to do it, you do it. So for her, it was about a lack of motivation, maybe, in this idea you like. So all this, I'm interpreting. But, you know, but in any case, this thing of the Marina Abramovic Institute, it's a place where she's like kind of donating what she has been discovering through her work to the public. This is the meaning of the Marina Abramovic Institute, I guess. And you know, we brought Counting the Rise here in Geneva. I did it for 6 hours. Of course, I consider Marina Abramovic one of the most important living artists. And of course, I know her work is important, but it's important to experience what she's doing. So I counted the rise for 6 hours. I slept like a baby. And the day after, I felt better, really. So if you don't trust me, we still have room at the Centre d'Art Contemporain. So tomorrow you can count the rise. If you write, we will give you the address later. But you can show up, and then we will find a way to let you count in the rise.
I just want to say, this is Dr. Abramovic telling you now. So it's a really simple exercise. You have the rice and lentils. You have to separate them in two piles. You have a pencil and you have a piece of paper. And you have to sit there and divide them and then write, and you count each of this part. And it's incredible to see what your mind is doing. If you decide, I'm going to do no matter what the 6 hours, you're really going to come with amazing experience. But, you know, many people can't do it. So people start and they say, okay, this is interesting. They divide very fast the rice and lentils. And then they get terribly bored. And then the mind starts working. And you get incredibly angry. You say, what the hell I'm doing here? This is stupid and idiotic. And then if you pass all these things, you know, all this kind of, they're like almost obstacles, then you come to this point that actually then you start looking every 5 minutes on the watch, and watch is not moving. But when you really get into the state of mind, when you forget the time is not there anymore important. You start experiencing something else. And this is something that nobody can tell you. You know, nobody change by, you know, reading somebody else's book of the journey to, I don't know, North Pole. You know, on the end of the day, the book is beautiful, you close the cover, but you are the same because you did make the journey. It's important to make this journey, whatever it is.
So please come. Bankers in Geneva count the money, and you are artists, you count the fucking rice. I mean, it's...
You know, one thing about me that not many artists do is to show everything I never hide anything, and I also don't hide the things I'm ashamed of, and I'm showing it. You know, it's really interesting that to show you mistakes, to show, you know, you things you like. In the 70s, it's a good example. In the 70s, if the artist in the 70s had the red nail polish, or red lipstick, or high heel shoes, it was absolutely the completely considered as a bad artist who tried to sleep with the curator in order to get the show. So it was a not good idea. And you know, there was all this kind of taboos, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. An artist, you're not supposed to have the money. That's the first thing, because it's nothing you have to suffer and you have to live bohemian life. But you know, we are living in 21st century, everything's changed. I lived in the car for 5 years. I didn't have no money at all. I was, you know, we was borrowing the gasoline with Ulay in the mineral bottle. You know, but I'm working 40 years now. I'm 68. The last 10 years, I really have money, and I love it, and it's fine, because why I have to suffer my life? I can pay my electricity bill. I have a house in the countryside, and I'm using it. And also, I love fashion. This is another part, because you know, the fashion is, you know, the friend of mine give me clothes, and I'm wearing them, and I'm fine with this too. But you know, the thing is that my entire world of, you know, generally, I divide in two categories. I invite on originals and the one who I follow. And originals, I can be in any category: music, dance, theater, fashion, architecture, you know, film, the great leaders of the countries. I don't care. The originals and one who I follow. And I like to blur these borders. And this is why confusion comes about my personality, because, oh, look, she's now in this gala, and then she's doing this work, which she's, you know, doing nothing in Serpentine for you know, 512 hours, which is not easy too. I am all of this, and that's what I am.
Any other questions?
Yes, yes. Oh, do you have microphone? Look.
I was sitting 6 hours long today counting rice and lentils, and I made a very strong experience. And I know that part of the strongness was because of the others sitting next to me. And my question is, how do you make the difference, or how do you feel the difference between training and performance? And it's maybe the question also between happening and performance, the part of the audience, and how, maybe, can you come back to that?
You know, the training is different. You know, I've been teaching more than 25 years in my life in different academies around the world, and I give the workshops, and I train, and especially specified for the young artists, performance artists. So everybody will ask, but how you can teach, you know, performance artists to perform? What you're teaching? I'm not teaching how to perform. What I'm teaching is how to actually the structure himself, how he can train himself in order to create strong perception, willpower, the determination to go through the obstacles, taking risks, this kind of stuff. And this I'm doing very simple. I call this courses cleaning the house, because it's not just enough to clean the house, you know, in your own home, but the one only house we really have to clean is ourselves. So the cleaning house will be, you know, I would take between 12 and 25 students, and they have to go to the places where are or too hot or too cold, never pleasant. And mostly I use too cold, because I hate cold, so that's why I'm using it. So we will go to these kind of places, mostly in nature, and then we will not eat for 5 days, and not to talk for 5 days, only drink large quantity of water. And then doing very strong exercises, all kinds of exercises. Let's say one exercise will be blindfolded, going to the forest and find the way home without looking it. And not cheating, because you're not cheating me if you cheat yourself then, if you don't do it. But it's interesting, an artist is supposed to be able to see with all body, like a blind man. Because you have to develop this kind of senses, that you know exactly what is in the front, what is behind you. You have to have this feeling, like old samurais. And this you can train. Telepathy can be trained, and so on. So I'm doing this kind of very tough training for the audience, for the students, to perform. But then I understand that it's not just enough to train the students, that you have to train audience to actually can receive the kind of energy and the kind of ideas from the when you're doing long duration performance. So this is why Institute we have this kind of limit of time of 6 hours. 6 hours is very good time. If you just take simple thing, if you take the door of your own house and you open the door, but you don't exit. You close the door, but you don't enter. You just keep opening this door up and down very slowly for 5 minutes, 10, 15. After 3 hours, the door is not the door anymore. The door becomes door of the space, the whole universe. Something else is happening. Because it's really important to study the old rituals from the ancient cultures. They're all based on repetition. Repetition creates some kind of interesting energy who helps the mind for concentration. And so the Counting the Rice is exactly the example of the public, how to train themselves in order to see something which is long durational, which can be in any category. You know, the long durational performance art is not something I invented. Wagner made the pieces of 15 hours, and John Cage have the organ playing in Germany for 639 years. But the long durational is the key to our life. Because I just been in CERN just a few days ago, and they told me that the universe is accelerating. Actually, there is a real, scientific knowledge that we are going faster and faster. And we have to do everything slower and slower. We have to claim our time for ourselves. Otherwise, we're pretty lost. It's very interesting. First, the good art always starts as underground. That's the absolute rule. Because starts underground because it's not accepted by society, it's new, it's the society didn't come to that state of mind to accept it, and sometimes underground art never get accepted in the time the artists live in, and they accept it much later when they die because the society go in different direction. But there is sometimes possibility that underground art is accepted by society and become regular art, and that's the difference, nothing else. But I want to only say the most important thing is that I really think that every good work of art have many lives in many different societies, always never die. The first thing that I made a huge mistake a long time ago to call myself grandmother of performance art. I hate it. I don't think I'm grandmother. Second thing is I really like to call myself warrior. I am warrior. This is what I am. I really go for it. I go to see unknown territories and to conquer them.
She was taught by Tito to
Let's not go there. That's another. It's so funny to say that, but I am always in panic. Like before performance, I have literally cramps in my stomach. I am terrified. The more difficult piece, the more difficult I feel. For the artist is present, I really prepare 1 year, just like an astronaut's going to space program or something. First of all, I have to do is to not to eat lunch for 1 entire year, because every time you eat the lunch, before lunch, the body produces acids, and you become hungry, and if you don't eat, you get headache, your blood pressure go down. So I have to adjust the body that I don't eat lunch at all, because I have to sit there, all these hours, and especially on Friday, 10 hours, which was the killer. And then I have to drink water in the night. And then I have to pee, drink the water, and sleep, and have enough rest for the next day. And the last intake of food is 7 in the morning. So it's completely physical things that you have to do to your body to kind of adjust everything, plus the mental, plus the willpower. And all these things is not enough. All these things makes you incredibly afraid. For me, every day was a question. Till the last day, I didn't know I could go through, because anything can happen. And there was so many, things that could go wrong. So it's a panic. And even for this talk, I was outside, so there was a girl there, she asked me, why are you so nervous? I said, if I'm not nervous, I will be nervous why I'm not nervous. I have to have this, so I don't know. It's like state of mind. But then the moment I start, everything disappears. And it's a wonderful story of Maria Callas, which I always liked. So she said something very important. She said, when I'm performing on the stage, I have to make sure that one side of the brain is completely in control and other side loose and free. And if I can keep this in balance, I know I can do it.
Where and how do you develop your new work? How do you get your ideas? And
so when I develop new work and how I get ideas, that's the question. First of all, I hate studio. I hate studios so much, because for me the studio is a trap, at least for me. I think studio, you're going there intellectually, you sit in the space and you kind of try to get new ideas. I don't like studio, I like life. I go to research trips. I go everywhere. I mean, like, to me, almost planet is claustrophobic. It's not as big as we think. I've been in almost every corner of this planet. I really like to go to far places where there's no Coca-Cola and no electricity, and there's not so many left. And I also like to go to the nature, because for me, the nature is more inspiring than anything else. I like to go to places where I call places of power, where is the volcanoes, the special rock formations, mountains, ocean, the waterfalls. That's where really energy comes. And in that kind of pure state there, you actually can have idea who comes out of nowhere. Idea have to come as a surprise. That's the whole thing for me. Have to come as a surprise out when you are not even busy with idea, just kind of arrive. And the ideas who really hit your stomach and you are so afraid of it, that's the idea you're going to do. All the nice ones you just kind of forget. And that's really important. So to me, this thing with Serpentine took me 4 years. And that's another thing important for young artists to know. If you don't get good ideas, don't do anything, just wait. Because if you're a real artist, ideas will always come, but you never know when. And that's important, because one incredibly important thing is that it's not just that we have, general, earth pollution. We have such a huge art pollution. We have to really be careful.
When you prepare new projects, how much do you discuss with people around you, and how much do you communicate your idea?
In the beginning, I don't say anything because I am so kind of not clear in my head. I liked, when idea is pretty clear to me, to talk to my really close friends who I respect the opinion, and they're not necessarily artists, can be completely different. I'm crazy about scientists. I love scientists. They're so much more interesting than my colleagues to me. And I like to sometimes to talk to very young artists and young generation. For me, it's so important, and this, especially in this room, is like 80% is super young people. And to me, if this amount of people like my work, that means my work is living. My work has some kind of substance that can, fit a new generation. And that means that I'm on the right path. So when only my colleagues come, I know it's something badly wrong.
Any other question? I was thinking, no, okay.
Again, from your performance in the MoMA, which people do you remember in particular and why?
Oh God, if we are talking about 1,700 people who sit in the front of me. This was so many interesting things happening there. It was, first of all, right in the beginning, after maybe 2 or 3 days, there came a man, sit in the front of me 7 hours. He started when the museum opened and we finished museum closed. This was incredible. I mean, 7 hours. And I know what he went through because I went through the same. Then the same person came 21 times. Later on, I actually met him and he tattooed 21 times the number on the hand. We became friends. But then I have another 78 people who came more than 24 times to sit with me and became a group, like a kind of, they even never met before. They will come, and they will start meeting each other, go for dinners, and now they make the club, and they every month they get together and they have good things to talk about because this experience was important to them. But one of the most touching things for me was 86 guards of the museum, who guard art in MoMA. And most of them, I mean almost everybody, on the non-working day, they would take uniforms off, get their own civilian clothes, and they come and they wait in the line to sit with me. And that really touched me so much. And now when I go to the museum, the women who clean the toilet, the people on the fireworks, they're the people who really, I know that I move something if I move this kind of people who really keep art for so long, but never had the kind of that kind of connection, like I established with them. And it was so many incredible contacts and differences, but there was one thing that one of the most painful, I think, I ever saw. It was this, she was Asian lady, and she came very early in the morning, one of the first visitors, and she had this tiny baby in her lap, and the baby had little capuchon, so you could not see the head, and she had so much pain in her eyes, and I was looking at her, and she stayed there maybe an hour, and very, very slowly she took this head of her baby, and then I see baby was sleeping, but she had a huge scarf, and she was totally shaved and scarfed. And then she looked at me with this incredible pain and the tears coming to her eyes, and then she put it back and left. So came 1 year later, we published the book because photographer made every single photo of every person sitting there. And in this book was the photograph of that lady with this kid. And then we got the letter from her. And the letter, she was saying that that particular morning, she was coming from the doctor because the baby had a terminal tumor, a cancer in her brain. And the doctor told that morning that there was no hope that going to die. So she was coming passing MoMA, and she went into MoMA. And there was, in a way, she was so released that the baby doesn't need to suffer through this radiation. But at the same time, no, this was the end. And then she sit with me. And then we start establish contact, we see each other. And then just this now past 4 years, and just the few months ago, I saw her in the movie. And she was pregnant, and just now she sent me a message that there's a new baby coming. So it's like, you know, you start kind of affecting people's lives, and then life go on, and it's so beautiful. And this is, I don't even know if I can put this into art. It's more human being to human being. Wow, this is late. Any more questions? I'm long durational. Don't forget. Oh, wait. Did I ever tell this funny story about the joke? Finally, my only performance joke. It was in the movie. The performance joke? No. Okay, I have to tell you the joke just in between. So, how many performance artists you need to fix the light bulb? And the answer is, I don't know. I was there 6 hours.
You talk a lot about the importance of your public. So now that you became more famous and that you know that people will come to see you, do you think that your performances are evolving, considering that people will come to see you?
You know, in my case, success comes so slow and so long. And thanks God it didn't come when I was 25, because I would be already on the overdose and dead. So, you know, that doesn't affect me at all. It's the really projection of the people, you know, what they project. It doesn't affect, and only give me more space that I actually can be heard, and my work can have some more, you know, the platform to be seen. But, you know, what I'm asking my public is a lot. I'm asking them complete presence. I'm asking them to participate. I'm asking them to be long durational. And now I get with this kind of image more credibility, that people actually can go through their own experience, and that's good. Because if you are, you know, in the 70s, you have 6 people public, that's nothing. But if you have, you know, a few thousand or 800,000, that's something. But you see, it's it's really important to me that it's first of all, performance is time-based art, and it's immaterial form of art. And you have to have the public to perform for. So the public and you create unity. It's like a family. You make the piece. You without public is nothing. Public without you, you know, it doesn't give any feedback. So it's the public and the performer who created new thing. And then, you know, I've been so criticized because of this all start, let's say, with my involvement with Lady Gaga. And, you know, Lady Gaga is 27 years old kid and very tough and good student, because she came to me to teach her. And then, you know, for me it was really important to see big picture. It's not because she's famous and now she's, you know, I'm working with her. It's not about that. It's about thing that she have 43 million of, you know, follower on her Twitter, which no one visual artist have. This is just, you know, sport people have, film stars and music. The art never have this kind of public, ever. But these 43 million of kids who follow Lady Gaga, she became her icon. It's something that she expressed her freedom, whatever she wanted to do. But at the same time, these kids, whatever she do, you know, follow and copy her. But if she comes to my institute and I learn her about things, about concentration and all these things I'm doing, you know, and giving her exercises. These kids are looking what she's doing. Then I get through her, that young public that actually can, you know, benefit from some of the knowledge I have already. So that's the really big picture. So first of all, you know, every performance has some kind of rules and instruction. My performance of the artist's presence, the rules was very strict. You come in the front of me, sit and engage in gaze, and you didn't have any limit of time. You can do 7 hours, the museum is open, 8 hours, or you can just go 5 minutes or 1 minute. It's up to you. So I didn't bring any rule to the public. But at the same time, if there's so many young artists seize opportunity to actually make their own work to be seen and use this possibility, it was not fair to me, because it's not about their work, it's about being part of the concept which is presented to them. What nudity, I totally, you know, I don't care. I mean, for me, being nude, the dress is the same. But we are talking about America, and America is full of rules. I have to say that in America, there will be, like in Europe, there was so many important performance tradition happen because of much less rules than in America, so that, you know, we will never have that history of performance. It will be only in America, because it's the museum, you have incredible much rules. I mean, just the piece that I made, Luminosity, was going to be presented in 14 rooms here in Basel during I think it's during the Basel Art Fair. This piece is the bicycle seat on the wall, and naked woman is sitting on there. I done this for 6 hours, and now I ask a performer to perform. Just 2 hours before the opening, the 6 lawyers of museum came and told me that it's not possible if this woman doesn't have a safety belt, the helmet, and only can be 15 minutes piece. And I said, this is crazy, I can't change, it will be a ridiculous piece. And then she said they have to sign liability of $2 million. If something happened to them, I have to pay this. It will be pretty bad. I signed everything that's given to me. I didn't care. I just want to do the piece. So, let's go into this. First, I will ask myself, or any artist who wanted to be an artist, how you know you're an artist. That's the main thing. How you know you're actually an artist or something else. How you know. And I've been busy with this question for a long time, and I found the answer. I think feeling to do things creative in a context of art is the same as a breathing. You don't question breathing. If you don't breathe, you just die. I mean, you breathe and it's something automatically. If you wake up in the morning and you have this enormous urge to create something, to do something that you have to, that is really in a kind of art context. It's different if you're making bread, then you're a baker, or you're, you know, making garden, you're a gardener. But if you really have this urge to create things, that means you're really an artist. But you're just an artist. Doesn't mean you're a great artist yet, only artist. So how from that being artist go into the great artist? Then is lots of sacrifice, my kid. This is so much sacrifice. You have to actually, not to sacrifice, you have to want to sacrifice, but you also have to kind of burn. You have to have this burning effect. You have to have fever. You have to be possessed. You have to do nothing else. It's like everything else is the total focus. And in this total focus, really some great things can happen. But also if you're a scientist or astronaut or anything, that kind of burning desire makes you different than just being an artist. And then, you know, the context makes the difference. So what I'm doing, you know, in museum is not actually meditation and not monastery or something, because I'm doing museum. That makes change, because I'm artist and doing this in museum. So that's the part of that process. It's the same story if you take the bread and you make greatest bread in the world, and you're a baker, you're still the baker with making good bread. But if you take this same bread and make in the gallery, you're Joseph Beuys. First of all, yes, it's a lot of movement in my life, but I am pretty happy, and I'm not confused, and I'm kind of pretty focused. So it's important to see what you have to do. You know, I will send you on the end of the day to count the rice. That's a good exercise, that you will feel less movement. But a part of this, you know, I give you a very simple thing to do. It's really important. And if you, let's do it, and not just you, but any young artist want to do this. It's kind of good exercise. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you're full of energy and confusion and you want to do this and you want to do that and you have the one idea but maybe change another idea and it's like all that mess. And also for young artists, there's so much influence. You're looking this style and there's another artist coming doing this and what I should do, maybe I should do this, maybe to do. That's really confusing and makes you very stressful and you don't know where to go. So, when you wake up with all this energy in the morning, what we normally do, we go out and spend it all. And then in the end of the day, you're tired and you're just home and that's it. Or, you know, whatever, you go shopping, you go to see the movies, friends, drink, whatever. So when you wake up in that day full of that energy, do one thing in your life. Just at least do once, see what happened. Take a chair, sit in the chair, switch all your phones and everything else, and just sit on that chair. And see what happened to the energy who want to go out and it's not possible because you're just in one position. What happened? It's something incredibly interesting. All this energy go in and that energy focus your mind because you're not spending it, you're actually using it to clarify your state of mind. And then you will know answer because answer have to come from inside of you and have to be simple and have to be really in contact with yourself. Not what is happening around, but what really your being want. What are you for here? Come on. I'm going to feel like Callas herself. You know, I am a person in front of you who do nothing regular in my life. I don't have any regular ideas. I really do everything by feeling, and I'm full of contradictions, and I try to live these contradictions and expose them, and that the people can project their own contradiction on me too. So, you know, when I say I do the research, I just been studying shamanism in Brazil for the last 3 years, and I make a movie about this. And to do this, I really go into the process and you know, experience in the different cultures, different methods, how to use energy. And then I come back, and then I just have a normal life, and then I go back into something else. And it's, you know, I'm just learning from everything I can touch. And then ideas come as a hologram, and then I do them, and so on. But you know, the truth is that in my real life, I don't have any time at all, because my live life is crazy. I'm going from place to place, from like a really modern nomad. But also, this is when I decide to make long durational works, everything stops. So the actually performance become like life itself. Because if you do something 2 hours, 3 hours, or 3 days is one thing. But if you do something 3 months, it's real life. You're going somewhere else. You're entering another type of territory. So this is why I really truly believe that the long durational performance for the public and for the performer is the most transformative form of art that we can ever possibly do in this moment when this universe is accelerating. Thank you. God, baby, give me a kiss. Thank you. I'm coming back. You're so wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.